Scripture speaking in the book of 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10. It says, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence. It's telling you, give diligence to making your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fail. With what audacity does Peter have to make such kind of pronouncement? It's a question. That if you give diligence to the input that come to your life, it's going to be an resultant effect of the output that will happen in your life. But first, the diligence must be given to making your calling and election sure. It now means, in other words, that every man upon the face of the earth has a calling and is an elected one. Therefore, it's admonishing us here that if you can do this, you will never fall. That means there are things that men do and fall. That means there are things that happen in the life of man that can still make a man fall. But it also made us understand, as much as there are things that can make a man fall, there are also things that can make the standing and the election of a man sure. When I saw that scripture, I wonder which audacity does Peter have to say those words. That the input that enters the life of a man is those input that determine whether the man stands or not in his calling and in his election. We might not be, I told you all of us have a calling. All of us are called. All. Once you give your life to Christ, you are called. Because you might not be called to handle the microphone and preach the gospel, but you might be called into the business world to represent Christ. First, you have to understand, to tell them, even in the business world, you have to understand that you are a Christian in business, not a businessman who is a Christian. There are two different words. It means that you are a believer who believes in business, who has ideas to invest. The same way you can come to school. You are not a student who is a Christian. You are a Christian who became a student. So he's making us understand from this scripture that there are certain things that if you give diligence to, that you will never fall, to make your calling and election sure. I've seen so many people carried away by the quagmire of this life, by things that happen in life that have no sense and have no meaning to it. Things that they try to find understanding, but still yet becomes difficult for them, but still want to pursue it. He said, give heed, give diligence to your calling and to your election. The question is, how many times have you defaulted in the calling to which God has called you to? The question is, how many times have you defaulted in the election that God has given you by grace? How many times? I know anytime we come to church, we say, die by fire, you like it. Anytime we come to church, we say the altar in your father's house is the one fighting you, you like it. And then anytime we come to church and say that it's a witch, no, that is what people go after. I'm teaching you tonight, pay attention to me. Because you might end up being like those ones that though yet they are Christians, but their life is being suppressed, marginalized, because they have not given sure diligence to their election and to their calling. You failed in exams and they said that it was one of the altars. It's true that there can be altar in your father's house. It's true. It's true there can be a witch behind the delay in your life and family. It's true. They can be. But after we have dealt with the witch, you will now realize that even after the witch in your family have died, your life has still moved forward. Because it takes more than killing the witch to move forward in life. Pay attention to me. That is why in this place we have a balance. That after we have taught you to pray warfare, we will also teach you to invest in the place of knowledge. Have you checked through the scripture before? Principalities. Do you realize that principalities is a higher class than powers? Do you realize that? Take us to Colossians. Let's Colossians 1:16. Quickly. Colossians 1:16. For by him were all things created that are what? In heaven, that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones. So in the cadre, in the arrangement, it means that throne comes before dominions. In the order of the princes, in the order of what you call power, is trying to let you understand that the hierarchy of the spiritual realm, thrones comes before dominions, and then dominions comes before principalities. It means also that principalities is higher than powers.